Public podcast.
Absolutely. That's how we like.
Yeah, but it's a theater.
There we go.
Oh, there, good. So we could just.
Yeah, please. I'm loud. I'm very loud.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you before we get started with this. I'm always most interested in people who are in the arts or in the entertainment industry, what they did prior to becoming that artist or that actor. So I know the one thing I read about you while you were going to college. That's the first time you performed stand-up. Is that correct? Can you tell me just a little bit about that, how you got into stand-up, what you were studying, where you went to school?
Yeah, like early origins, my parents are from Argentina. My mom has an accent, Carlitos, no me digas, a stop sign. My best parents were from Glasgow, Scotland. I was over there every single day, listening to them, listening to my mom, Carlitos, Carlos. So I think that was formed a foundation that I was later to discover. And I go to college, I'm a jock, I play all kinds of sports, and I'm playing soccer, and I'm running track. And I have a professor that says, you should try stand-up comedy. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll give that a shot. And I did mime. And then when I was doing my stand-up comedy, I would do all these characters. 87, I'm in San Francisco, and I meet all kinds of great comics. Tom Kenny's one of them. 91 comes around, and there's an audition for a project by Joe Murray, Saturday Mercury columnist, or a panel cartoonist, called ROCKOS MODERN Life. And I'm like, oh, give that a try. I made an old-fashioned recording from a play and record machine at the same time. And I show up at this house in San Francisco near Sutro Towers, very famous structure. And they're looking for the voice of Rocko. They didn't want Australian. They wanted like a Woody Allen, yeah, like a Wamadi. If you guys are Bruno Kirby from Good Morning Vietnam, I too can be very funny on the radio. Frenchie. And so I did Spunky right off the bat. And Nick Jennings, who now works on the new Powerpuff Girls, said, oh my God, he left that out of his chair literally and said, you're Spunky. And I went, okay, good, I'm in the room. And we tried all these voices, and I, just for shoots and giggles, I did Gene Wilder from Young Frankenstein. You are not evil, you are good. Say it again. And that made him laugh. And so then we went to other voices, and I said, can I just try this, you know? And I picked up a vacuum manual or something like, make sure Jose is plugged into slot B. Make sure the unit is unplugged when you're doing this maneuver. And they're like, hey, that sounds kind of cool. Sent it off to Nickelodeon. They said, yep, we made a pilot at a place called Poolside Studios on Lombard Street, the straight park before you go up the hill and then downhill. And they sent it off to Nick, and they said, yeah, it's going to go to the series. I got the call maybe a year later. And we started in 92, 93.
And so how old were you at that time?
I was in college, 20, that must have been 35, 90, I was born 62, 33.
Okay, all right, so fairly young, yeah. And that was your first, that's one of the things I was curious about. Like, I know a lot of people study, you know, dialects or different things. But growing up with all these different accents around you, did you have a natural ear for it?
I think, yeah, that's just what I clued into. Obviously, I talked to a lot of friends. Like Terrence Strong is pretty good with dialects, Carter Waldgren, John DiMaggio, those types of guys. I think we all
help each other out? Do they give you like some insights into ways to get into it?
Yeah, you know, John's like from New Jersey. We gotta do this thing today. You know, Terrence Strong was very good, but I think we all keyed into that, like your throat and larynx and vocal cords are all an instrument. They're a wind instrument. And so with John, the way I learned to do Scottish is I watched my friend Kevin's father, and his upper lip never moved. Let me tell you something, Carlos. He's got to say right now, you'll freeze to death. Put on a jacket there, Carlos. And so it was just through the physicalization. And obviously Ross Marquand from Walking Dead is an excellent impressionist. He does Kevin Spacey and Brad Pitt. And you know, there's a guy named James Adomian who does Bernie Sanders. So, you know, he gets the bad results. I never got an opportunity to advertise for Kentucky Fried Chicken, and my last name is Sanders. Yeah, you know, Trump, okay, believe me, just, okay, make the face. And many people have said, my Trump is the best. I just said.
Did you do any formal vocal training prior to that?
I did, although when I was learning Rocko, and I knew I had the gig, I knew that I needed to brush up on Australian because the original Rocko is like, "Ooh, buddy, small dogs and trash are not a part of a balanced diet." And they said, "Wait, it's way too flat. Let's make it more cockney." But I bought a cassette tape of how to speak Australian, and one of the things was you want to go nasally and then push everything out through the nose, and that helps with vowels and things like that. And that was really the only formal attempt at training. Yeah. And the rest was by ear. You know, if you look up, Boomerang has an app that you can get on your phone or your computer. They do the new Looney Tunes, and I play a couple of characters: Leslie P. Lilylegs, all original new ones. Seamus O'Shanty, Elliot, and Tad Tucker. Tad Tucker's this guy that's like come inside my home and I'm going to show you how to build a new edition with bacon. So I went to Sydney, Australia for, well, I did both Happy Feets. And for the second one, we went there for 17 days, 17, and I just listened to George Miller and everybody around me and just try to get to how you're going. And I don't think I have it perfectly, but the more I hear it or remember it, or see a face that speaks it, it helps you clue into it.
I gotta say also, when you immerse yourself like that for 17 days and have it around you, you kind of start to feel it's like a part of you, right? It becomes easier.
Absolutely. I don't know if it was out here. I did this character named JJ Hightail for Direct Auto Insurance. He's a race car driver. He's on billboards. And JJ was just my friend Henry Cho. Right. Henry's from Knoxville, Tennessee. Oh, yeah. So when I did JJ, it's like, hey, you know, what's that? Oh gosh, now that's a pleasant surprise. It's like finding out with Direct Auto Insurance, you can get a low rate and flexible payment plans regardless of your driving history. And that's straight up just copying Henry. And when I'm around Henry, I mean, I start to go that way. Right. Californians are neutral. If you're hanging out with your friends from New York or something, you just, it's like osmosis. You're gonna get sucked toward the stronger accent. Or Bill Burr, is getting a comic like Bill Burr from Boston. Yeah. You know, you're nuts. You know, it just. California to me sounds so boring and neutral.
Yeah. But so with his voice acting, you've obviously been very successful. Making the transition to acting like live acting with Reno 911, did you, once again, any formal training? Was just being comfortable doing stand-up? Did you improv?
No formal training in acting per se, although that show was all improv, and it was improv by the numbers. In other words, I've done live improv shows, you should know because you invited me, like long-form shows at the Groundlings called Uncle Joe or Cooking with Gas. Or Armando, where they start out with a certain premise, but then it evolves into completely different things. That's a whole other skill. Basically, Reno was like pretend, because we were like cops. And the rules of improv, classically, are yes and. Hey, look, I found this turtle. Yes, and it's beautiful. Like, no, get rid of it. So we would do the opposite. Like, hey, I wanna do this crime. No, stop it. So it was the reverse of the rules of real improv. And people would drive it. We had a famous scene, and I actually pitched this idea, where Keegan-Michael Key's from Jordan Peele, Keegan and Peele. He comes out of a casino with a wheelbarrow full of chips. Yeah. And my idea was that he was going to make up this elaborate lie, and we just let him run. And then we're like, no, get in the car, not going to happen. So I'm in the car with Kenny Rogers, and the gist of the scene with Kenny Rogers is, we're going to take the long, circuitous route to the mall for his safety. So my friend gave me a bunch of Brady Hawk's Gambler movies the night before, and I had a notepad here, and I was like, remember Gambler 1 where you hid in the coffin, they thought you were... And he did, he remembered, and he was right there with us. So it was a different kind of improv where you had the makeup, you knew the characters, so it was a little bit of a cheat. But I think we were still really good at it.
Yeah, it was also fun. Must have been fun for those actors who aren't used to it, like Kenny Rogers. I can't imagine him being used to improv, so it must be fun.
He was right there with it. He was amazing. And, you know, I get to work with Niecy Nash and Wendy McClendon-Covey and Cedric Yarbrough and Tom and Ben and Terry and Mary Birdsong. It was just fun. It was fun being a cop, you know, put on the mustache. And again, one of the things that helped me do Garcia was that I had a glued on mustache. Right. And always around lunch, we were always in the grossest, hottest, dirtiest, sweaty locations. Okay, in California sweat. But the fake mustache would start to come off. So I had to kind of hold my mouth like that. So and it was mustache acting. It helped me kind of get stiffer than I normally was. It was all the mustache.
All the mustache. Yeah. All the mustache. All right, do you guys have any questions? I mean, I can sit up here and talk all day. Andre, you get one?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right.
All right.
Now remember, stand up and say be loud, and then I'll come around to everyone. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to try like the first question, I mean, if you can't answer the question, I'll try a different question.
Fair enough.
Well, first, like, I know you said, like, you have lots of voice roles that you may not remember. I mean, one of the voice roles that I really love that's often, like, overshadowed from your other voice work was the kid from Kids Next Door, as, like, he's considered like the Boba Fett of like the Kids Next Door universe.
You showed it to me, right?
Yeah.
He's like, be ready? Oh well, I'll come back later. He's kind of like a cool kid.
Yeah.
He's almost Latino, but not Latino.
He's basically a fan. What are your thoughts? Like, did you enjoy voicing? What was your favorite part voicing that character?
If somebody new, that's the favorite part. You know, it's somebody I've never tried before, and they say, help us create it. Because a lot of times the directors will help you go a certain way. And that was the origin of, like, Mr. Crocker. Butch Hartman had an idea, he let me pitch some things, and we said, what about a mixture of Richard Dreyfuss and Gene Wilder and Montgomery Burns from The Simpsons? And you might sound something like, Mother, I don't know, there it is! So, yeah, that was part of the joy of that character was getting to make it out from scratch.
That sounds like an interesting game. Like, I don't know if voice actors do that, but throwing 2 or 3 people together,
yes.
What would that be like?
Billy West came up with a suggestion like that you can always mix 2 characters together to form a hybrid, or a really bad impression of somebody is an original character. And I'm trying to think of, oh yeah, you know what I do now? If you look, go to Boomerang, go to New League of Kings. Leslie P. Lilylegs is my version of a really bad Jack Lemmon, and he's got a tinge of Crocker. Like, oh, but I'll get that rabbit. How come I can't be in the White House? Where's that stupid bunny? I can never get the lead. It's Jack Lemmon, but it's an original character. And then we do that when we teach voiceover classes.
Just one more question. And you know how you're well known voicing Rocko and Laszlo, both of Joe Murray's like hit shows. What will happen like if both Rocko and Laszlo actually met each other for the first time?
Like in a mirror. Yeah. It might go something like, hello, I was wondering, can you tell me how to get to Camp Laszlo? Yeah. You just get on this bus. Do I know you from somewhere? I don't think so. Nah, something's really familiar about you. Hey, Clan, do you know this guy? I have no idea.
Alright, so I'm going around here. Okay, you had a question?
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, as you know, like you're a part of my childhood, and I really came here just to hear you say "Heppa." Heppa. Thank you.
Instagram post.
And then I'm going over this way. Okay.
On Reno 911, first of all, how did you meet those people? How did you get ingrained with that group?
We auditioned, Ben, Tom, and Carrie were doing a show called The Ugly Americans, the first Ugly Americans, and it was for Fox TV, and it was going to be a sketch show. So I met them at Jersey Television with Danny DeVito and a guy named John Landgraf, who's a bigwig at FX now. And I just went in with 3 characters like they did. And then that went well, and then we went to studio. And that went well, and then we all went to network. And then there I was talking to Cedric and Nisi. Wendy came along later. There was a girl named Amy Brissett, who was my daughter in the original Reno pilot. So I met them all right there, from the audition to the inception of the second Comedy Central version pilot of Reno. We just met as we went. And Cedric and I hit it right off the bat. And again, keep in mind, this is my character, Garcia, who's kind of a racist. The first thing I ever said to Cedric, and he didn't know it was coming, we get in the car, we're driving around San Pedro, California, and they just paired us up. And we get in the car, and they turn the cameras on the dash cams, and we go, just drive around for half an hour and make up stuff. So the music was playing Usher on the radio, and he's walking out, and I turn to him and I go, we have to listen to this jungle music? And that relationship was born out of that. He's like, what the F did you just say? I'm not a character, idiot.
Excellent.
So,
1 second, look at this kid. Okay.
What's your favorite voice actor to do?
yeah, good question, because there's so many. You know, ones like that Andre mentioned were fun because they were new. Man, I still got to go with Rocko because he's my first, and he's so sweet. Because since then I've played a bunch of Monroe and Jennifer Lee.
Yes,
Everybody's so crazy that Rocko is just what they call the eye of the hurricane. Everything around Rocko is crazy. Like, oh, Rocko! Yeah, Rocko, dear, come over. Mr. Big Head wants you to come over for dinner. We'll be here later. And he just says, but Mrs. Big Head, I don't think I can do that. He's just so sweet. So I would say Rocko.
Yes. All right, so back here, and I'll come to you guys again.
Carlos, first off, big fan, awesome dude.
Thank you.
Next, so I'm assuming they're putting you back in the role for the Rocko special?
Yes, we already recorded. It was a year ago, November. Static Cling, for those of you out there who haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. Static Cling is about Rocko Filbert and Rocko being trapped in space in 1996, and all of a sudden, whoosh, they get sucked back down to the earth, and welcome to the 21st century. And how does Rocko and his friends survive and exist with all this new technology and people being different and O-Town being more crowded? But yes, we reprised all our roles. Tom Kenny is Heifer, Charlie Adler is the Big Head, Mr. Dupree, Joe Murray does Ralph Bighead, of course Mr. Lawrence does Filbert, and even, what's her name? I'm forgetting the original, the Doctor of the Hook.
Oh, yeah.
Linda Wall is back, and Jill Talley as well, so
Cool. So
we're all back.
So my question is, what was it like stepping back into that role after all those years, and is there any cool stories from that?
I tell everybody it's like the band getting back together again. It's like, you know, British rock bands and hey, you haven't played in 25 years, you still want to play, you want to go out? No, do that, yeah, why not? I can still play the bass, let's try it. I was going to talk to my wife and kids, see her out of the house. But we got together and it was like making music again because we got to record at the same time. And a lot of times when we record it, it's you're by yourself and you add to the mix. And so I just remember sitting there with Tom always stands up, Charlie and I sit, and Doug stands up. So Doug's standing, I'm sitting, Tom's standing, Charlie's sitting, I look over. I can't believe it, like 25 years later, we're here again. It's really surreal and awesome.
Is that unusual to be able to sit down together for a reading? Do you generally read alone, or do you try to read when you have a show?
Depends on the project. Fairly Odd Parents, we were always together. So it'd be Tara, Darren Norris, and Suzanne Blakesley, and occasionally Greg Lyle, Jeff Bennett as Catman. And we'd all be together, like Fairly Odd. Elena Valor, I usually go by myself. When I recorded the movie Planes, I played El Chupacabra, I did it all by myself with the director. So it varies from project to project.
Is it more fun to have the entire cast there?
It's more fun to have the entire cast, for sure. But then we all goof around. When we were doing Laszlo, Jeff Bennett and I constantly, Colette Sunderman as director, like, guys! As he would sing Candy, oh yes, I'm going up the country, man, Guys! I'm sorry, I like that song, Laszlo. That's a cool song, Raj.
You had a question?
So is there any projects out there that, like, if they called, like, and offered you a role, like, you would just do it before they even finish offering it?
Yeah, most any animated thing for sure. You know, I just love being a part. Muppet Babies is coming out. My friends are working on that. Something like that, or a Rick and Morty type thing. I got lucky enough to do a few Archers. Bob's Burgers, if I ever got a shot to do that, I would do that for sure.
You should definitely voice the character in Star vs. the Forces of Evil.
I would audition for that, actually. I recently did 2 Brazilian sort of guards in American Dad, so it was fun to go read family Seth MacFarlane's world. But yeah, absolutely. I would absolutely jump in there.
So you had a question?
Oh, yeah. What's the hardest voice you've ever done?
The hardest voice I've ever done.
Or most
I think it's Bane. Bane because I had no idea that it was such a revered part of a revered franchise. I wasn't a comic book guy per se. Hulk smash. Bane because there was so much writing on it that I didn't know. First I broke the bat, now I will break the man. Or vice versa, I think. I broke the man, break the bat. And that's obviously wears on your throat, but you know, they want to get it just right because it's part of a pretty important franchise. So Bane and Crocker, there would be whole episodes with Crocker saying, "Mother, oh Denzel, mommy's made a pastry, I don't want it, you old bat, don't talk to your mother that way."
When you have something like Bane, which is going to be hard on the vocal cords, I would imagine, do you have to like tease? Do you have to do short takes, something like that?
Tease, cough drops, short takes, and Reno Romano was the director, and usually would cover the actor and say, "We got it." You know, you don't want to do too many takes.
Yeah, because that can really damage you, right?
Yeah, I did scratch cuts for Shakal in Book of Life. I want the man. Even that just kills.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jorge, please.
I got one back here first.
And Logan has one over here.
Okay, yeah, okay. You had one, right? Okay, go ahead and stand up and just scream it out. Yeah, you.
So, how do I word this? Is there a type of character that you like to play? That was pretty big. Like, you know, you went there.
Oh, yeah. I've done it a couple of times. There's a new series for DreamWorks where I get to play sort of an evil guy based on John Garcia, who's a friend of mine, based on the Crypt Keepers. Very Crypt Keepers. Well. I guess we're out of time. Here's just more hello kitties. But I love that. I would love to play any bad guy on a Batman. Villains are great. Yeah, so in that sense, that's why I enjoy Bane. But yeah, I'd love to play more villains instead of this sweet old Rocko all the time.
Okay, wait. You said Logan?
You know, in the back of the
right here.
What's the easiest character that you played?
Ooh, the easy. That's relative. I think, you know what? Skylar's the closest to my own voice. But you know what I do? I do this behind the scenes. I do a lot of Billy Crystal sound-alike stuff. It was the hardest to learn. This is his regular voice. And then after about 45 stitches, I son, get out of here! Goodbye, Monster Inc! Goodbye, Mr. Waternoose! Ah, my one eye! So that one's getting easier because I've done like hours and hours. It wasn't easy to learn, but now I feel like I'm in the pocket. Like they can call me like, "We need you to do some Mike Wazowski." Yeah, no problem. I'll be over there tomorrow.
The transitions that you do between characters that are in the same series, like Clem and Laszlo, that's really impressive. How does that get hard in your head?
Sometimes. I mean, Charlie Adler used to do Bev and Ed Bighead. Ed, don't be so. No, tell me to be upset, Bev. I'll calm down. I will calm down. You know, Ed, I'm getting tired of this. I'm getting tired of this. And like, wow. And occasionally we'll do it like that. But when I did Wow Wow Wubsy, I did like all the male characters, like, oh yes, Walden. And I want to play Kick Ball. Got the mail for you, Wubsy. Oftentimes we would just read one character all the way through and then come back and do the other characters to separate it if we got confused. Sometimes with Crocker and the mother, I would do this because they're, I think, disparate. They're not quite the same, so that was easier. Mother, yes, Denzel. It was a little bit easier to switch back and forth. But half the time we would just read a character all the way through and then go back and do your other character. So it made it easier for sure.
Cool. You had a question?
What was the Reno 911 finale like? The filming of it, was it emotional? Or
well, yeah, we didn't know who was going to die. I had a feeling that it might be me. When we went to the tacos, and then everything blew up, and there was a funeral, and it was like, uh-oh. Yeah, it was. You know, you revere a character, you revere working with all these people, so yeah, it's kind of let down. It's at the end of summer camp. Summer camp's over. I won't see those people again. Not that fast.
Yeah. Do you want to do more? Do you like live acting? Do you prefer voice acting? No.
I do like live acting. There's a movie on right now on Netflix. Still, you can stream it called Take the 10 with Tony Revolori from. If you ever watched Grand Budapest Hotel, he plays the boat boy. He's really good. But I'm on Take the 10. I got to play a Guatemalan gangster. I got to be on Kevin Can Wait, the pilot episode. Yeah, you know, if we did another Reno, I'd love that. Live action's fun. The hours are longer. You're in your trailer and it gets boring, but it's still fun to do.
This is for me. I have this theory. I think most good comedic actors can do drama easily. I think if they wanted to. Have you ever tried out for a dramatic role?
Yeah, you know what? I just tried out for an HBO show called Camping. I didn't get it, but I really loved preparing for it because it was pretty raw. And you know, obviously DC Nash did Getting On HBO, and Claws is pretty dramatic. So yeah, I would love to be able to, I have auditions for dramatic roles. I did a Bones, which is soft dramatic. I played Sammy Tucker, the owner of a mini golf course, who my best golfer goes to South Africa and gets killed. And I did the whole interrogation thing with David Boreanaz, I guess his name is, right? And that was semi-dramatic, but the guy who wrote it was Dave Thomas from Second City Television. When I went into the audition, I was like, oh my God, you're Dave Thomas.
Okay, wait.
Yeah. 25 years ago when you first started on Rocko, did you ever think it would have such a cult following 25 years later?
No. 25 years later, no. I thought at the time it could have had the popularity of SpongeBob had there been social media or that kind of push from Nickelodeon. And of course, Tom Kenny's phenomenal, and that's the reason why. And Bill Favabaki and Roger Bumpus and Doug Lawrence, that's another reason why that show's phenomenal, not just because of the timing of course, but yeah, 25 years later, it was weird. I'm sitting at a restaurant with a buddy of mine, maybe 2 years ago, year and a half, and Joe Murray walks in with Martin Lawrence, Martin Olson and Doug Lawrence, and I'm like, what are those three getting together? And I'm like, yep, we're gonna make a Rocko movie, so, wow, all these years later, no way would I think. And meeting fans of such a different age, fans Logan's age, people my age and older, your age, it's kind of neat that Rocko's made it this fun, you know, and that people really dig it. So I had no idea. We had no idea.
Thank you.
I'll get back. Yeah, you have it right there.
What's the worst show you've worked on? Oh, the worst show I've worked on. I'd say the worst ending was Family Guy. And because it was the first season, it was so hard for Seth to really please all the executives. So while the show was awesome, I think the experience was really tense. You know, they were trying voices, people got replaced, and so, and obviously the way Mr. Weed died, that was one of the worst experiences, however, not the worst show. There's been some video games that I've done, and I don't remember that weren't very fun, that's for sure, but I can't really single out the worst one.
What is it about video games that weren't very fun?
Just the death throws that you have to do, short, medium, long deaths, short, medium, long falls, impact efforts. You get chewed up. Yeah. There's a lot of prompts. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Die! Incoming! Ah! There's always an incoming.
Okay.
I know there was some talk when Reno 911 first started of it not really going far. Did you ever think that you guys would make a movie?
No. I remember this third season too. We were at Virgin Records on Sunset, and Ben said, "We're going to make a movie." What? And we made it in 2006, and I never thought that there would be a feature film at all. And here we were in Miami and filming stuff, and the ROCKOS with us. There were like 20 Johnsons right there. It was so surreal, blowing up a whale. And, yeah. The new beach team was fun to go.
All right, Logan, you have another?
What's the next show movie?
Oh gosh, the next show that I'm going to be on is a DreamWorks show, and I can't say the name, but I get to play a really fun couple of characters on it, and that comes out in 2019. I'll just say it's based on one of their franchises. I think that's all I can say. That's coming out. More Elena Avalor's coming out. New Looney Tunes, some new ones are coming out on Boomerang, the app. And I did a mashup of two different properties that are coming together, and I can't say what that is either, but I hope that'll come out soon. It's a character I've done before, though. I've done it.
All right. Another question I want to ask. So, like, you're also known for voicing Winslow and CatDog, along with Lou, one of the Greaser gangs. What's the best thing that you did when you were voicing those characters when you were doing CatDog?
I don't know. Luke was based on a kid named Brandon when he was in a summer camp. He always used to talk like that. Will you brush your teeth with me? And so I just took it a little deeper, and he was a teenager. And I said, Winslow. And then Winslow was so mean. Hey, CatDog, nice day outside. Go back and stuck inside. That part is being mean.
Yes.
Are you still doing stand-up?
I still am, actually. I'm back at it. And my goal is to make a half-hour special and make it available online or something of that nature. Hopefully, maybe one of the bigger things like a Netflix or a Hulu. But I still am. I took a break for a while, but back doing it, enjoying it.
So when you put together, you're going to do 30 minutes of new material, hopefully, or?
Yeah, this is, or stuff that has never been on air. It's not new to me per se. I've been doing it for years, but never put it out on air. I did 3 late nights with Craig Ferguson's. I did a 2003 comedy special for Comedy Central. I did Gabriel Iglesias, his comedy show a couple years ago. So there'll be a couple, there's a lot of room for stuff to be put into.
This is kind of silly, but like the Taco Bell Chihuahua, like I remember like back then it was like such a big thing. How was that any different from like a commercial role versus like a cartoon, or was
Viva Gorditas. I think I'm young. That was way different. It blew up. It was such a laser pinpoint target to the American kind of zeitgeist at that time. That blew up more than anything I've ever done. You know,
But you probably can't anticipate that going into it, right?
No.
So, yeah.
You just see a commercial with a chihuahua and you're like, oh, I'll give it a shot. But that was different than any other animation experience in terms of the popularity. That outweighed everything, for sure.
Yeah, so you have a question back there? Yes, you.
You might riff a joke on a line or one new line. So there wasn't so much freedom to improv like we did in Reno 911, where we made up the dialogue completely. Certainly on the Disney stuff, like Elena of Avalor, when I'm, let's go Elena, or Avalor. I can't go, let's go get a Coca-Cola too. Let's relax by the pool and sip some cocktails. You know, those you have to kind of stick to what's right. So it varies from project to project in terms of how much freedom you have. But not much.
Let's see. Okay, you have another question? You have a question. Okay.
Yeah. I've heard that Disney is very careful with their properties and such. Is everybody kind of like, you can't say this, like you can't say the character's voice that they have herpes or take cocaine or anything like that?
Yeah, it's a smart idea if you're on radio or doing an interview on television. You don't want to besmirch the characters, is that the word? You don't want to make them, put them in a foul situation, you know. When you're off mic, you listen, lady, you son of a gun.
I don't know if you guys have, since you probably have if you're at the studio, but the animators, the kind of drawings they do.
Yeah. Not for children.
Yeah,
not for children.
Very funny though. Okay.
What's it like working with all the other female voice actors, like Cree Summers, E.G. Daily, and Tara Strong?
Yeah, I got to work with Cree on Sheriff Callie and E.G. Daily. I work with on Happy Feet, all phenomenal. Tara Strong, Grey Noel, Jessica DeChico, Kari Waldron. There's way more. There's Kat Tabor, Christina Pachilli from Loud House. They're all just so gifted. Suzanne Blakesley, who plays Wanda and Mother on Fairly Odd Parents. Oh, Cosmo! Yes, dear. She's so underrated and so good. So good. So it's phenomenal. I'm like, it's like working with jazz musicians that are like, these guys, what notes do you need? What tempo do you need? And they're just like, it's just amazing. Amazing. Some of the best in the world.
Yeah, Andre?
Speaking of the Loud House, you recently voiced Ronnie Ann's uncle in the TV special where Ronnie Ann has to move to another.
That's right.
Yeah.
She's the Casagrande, Carlos Casagrande.
Yeah, how's it like being like in part of the cast of the Loud House series? It's great.
Cool, it's cool. And Carlos is just like, and that's an easy word too, though. That's basically me, but nerdier. Oh well, you know that science says a very important thing. Yeah, whatever, Dad. And I play the parent. Oh boy, So that was fun. It's fun to be part of that franchise.
It's a great series.
It's good. People love it.
It's an honor for you to be the voice cast on that show.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Wait, did you have a question? You haven't asked one yet.
No, I have characters you mentioned for the Loud House. I looked up on the wiki and said that you also voiced the Mexican band leader for the Loud House. I think it was.
I did. Wasn't he in a restaurant?
Yes, it was the Mexican French restaurant.
Oh yeah.
Forced to go on a date with
That's right.
With Lori and Bobby.
I forgot what that voice was like. Something like, "Would you like to sit down and review the menu?" I don't remember what it was, but you're right. I did do that.
Mariachi singer, I think.
That's correct. You are right.
Yeah. Okay. You have a question?
Yeah, it's kind of going back to my other question. I noticed that you said something about kind of tenacity also.
I think following my own advice is making your own content, creating a cartoon, putting on your YouTube channel where you write and produce and do all the voices. It's a good showcase.
Yeah, I was going to say that, I was going to ask rather, now with the internet, I mean, I imagine like, you and I are relatively the same age, you're 62, I was born in 67.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go out, you would have to go out to LA probably to do that. But now with the internet and content being created, like here at SCAD, we have an animation department where you can voice characters for animated student films or something. That could be a great experience for people.
Yeah, the guy Waco is from Austin, Texas, who created Brickleberry.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, Mike Judge, did all this stuff out of Texas. So yeah, you can do it anywhere. You can create your own content. But so it is. Yeah, it's being inventive, thinking outside the box, making your standard DVD or YouTube or animation reel that you can email, and doing those above and beyond things, creating your own stuff.
Well, this might be something that everyone would be interested in. Say a young person who did want to get into voice acting. Would they create a voice reel? Would they say that? Like, what would be the process for someone who's interested? Do you think they have the ability? How, in addition to making content or something?
Yeah, there's a great page. D. Bradley Baker has something, How to Be a Voice Actor, and it answers every single question about that. But yeah, you would create a reel of your own original characters in whatever situation you want to put them in. Discovering a new planet, or working up the back of a garbage truck, or whatever adventures they want to go. And, you know, now it shows like Adventure Time, it could be anything. Yeah, they go underneath a manhole cover and discover a bowling alley that's a new planet. You know.
So D. Bradley Baker, you said?
D. Bradley Baker, Breaking into Voiceover, I think it's called. It's one of the first things that comes up for D. Where it answers all the questions about how do I break in, what do I do?
Cool. Does anyone else have questions? Yep.
So when going for a role, like do you go into it like, I know that the general will give you like an idea of what they're looking for. Do you have ideas going into it? Like you take original characters, you practice original characters going in, like before going in? Like how does that work?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of new ones. Like I said with Leslie P. Lilylegs, he was this put upon guy that never got to win. The rabbit always got his job, you know. He wants to sing an opera. And Bugs is like, I can sing the opera, why don't you hire me? So I said, I wanted him to be like that frustrated Jack Lemmon. There was a movie he did called The Out-of-Towners. I'll get you, well, I'm going to call the police. So you think you can get away with this? You're not going to get away. And a little bit of a character named Joe Flynn from the Kale's Navy, an old show. So that one I said, I'm going to put those two together and see what happens. And I think that this is the guy. And then there's a character named Elliot, and he's basically, all right, you guys, Porky, I need you to do this job. And it's my version of Sam Elliott, the actor. Doers, bank of beer, the dude abides. And again, once I get a bad impression of his original character. I got a lot of input into those, and Crocker. And Rocko, too.
Rocko was, like I said, something I threw out. Because he just had a big nose and big eyes and his teeth were to the side. And I said, can I try something like this?
It was just lucky.
Do you have a count of how many voices you've done? Do you have any idea roughly?
He listed as 400, but it's probably more, right?
Yeah.
But
15 Rocko.
Rocko! Chuck and Leon!
There's like that weird monk, that chimp guy who has like the toilet paper roll on his head.
Oh gosh.
It was like, I think it was when Rocko was sick or something.
Earl Upchuck and Spew.
Yeah.
Yeah, come out on the toilet.
I'm sick.
Does anyone have any other questions? We're almost at the end of time. We have enough time for a couple other questions. Yeah.
Do you have a card that gets you free Taco Bell for life?
Not a card. That gives me free Taco Bell for life.
Taco Bell.
Poorly negotiated.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Taco Bell, did you at all work with Daniel Tosh on those?
No, I didn't. No, that was a whole separate time. I guess he's doing new ones, or?
Well, he was like with the Taco Bell dog and those commercials.
Oh, was he? I'd have to go back and find that out. No, I was just supply the voiceover. It was never on set. So interesting. I have to go back and look that up.
Yes.
Also, what's what do you consider? This is like in Rocko's Modern Life. There's this fictional show that Rocko and his friends love, the Fatheads. Didn't you feel bad for Rocko when they made a character based making fun of him called, the character Rolo, like in the Fatheads?
Great, isn't it?
Rolo. Yeah, well, I don't know. No, it's just a cartoon, but yeah, you know, Rocko's so sweet. You know, how could you make fun of Rocko? But he can be okay.
Like how like they were like, and also like his friends like were against that he liked rainbows. Like, every clown episode.
What's wrong with a rainbow?
That's disgusting.
Are you defensive towards, or are you protective of your characters, like Rocko?
Meaning, like, if somebody else wanted to do it, or reprise the role, or...
If one of the writers did something, or somebody new came on who didn't understand it as well as you did.
Yes, yeah, if you're working with a new director, for sure, on characters that you really, really know, yeah, for sure. You get defensive, yeah, a little bit, I guess the word is defensive, or you want ownership of it, and say, no, I don't think Crocker would say that. That never was the case with Butch Hartman, because that was a manifestation of his brain, all the characters. But sometimes, yeah, you're working with a different director on a show that you had before. That happened, I think, on Sheriff Kelly or Handy Manny. We switched directors, and I really thought I knew my...
Felipe, I'm a Felix head screwdriver.
Hola, herramientas. I was the grandfather, and sometimes they would want you to go a certain way, and I go, I don't think you'd say it that way. So that's about the limit of that.
Yes.
Good. Butch likes to torture you. Hey, Carlos, that's great. It's a great take. Next time, try that take. Okay, let's do it again. Thanks, Butch.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just did a podcast on Speech Bubble. It's online right now with Butch Hartman, Crocker, and we did Crocker reading Dr. Seuss. So, check that out. Are you my mother?
I just want to thank you on behalf of everybody, you know, because you show us that great memories can beat the sands of time. And, you know, you're proof of our immortality. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. That's so appreciated. Thank you. That's good to hear.
All right, everyone.
Thanks to hear.
Yeah, very nice. If no one has any other questions, I think we have to go out for the next people who are coming in. But let's everyone, big round of applause and thank Carlos. Thank you.
You see them too, right? What am I doing? I'm not crazy!